Welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing a Peekaboo Motherhood Walk in the Park tumbler with glitter. Make sure you like and subscribe, ask any questions in the comments, and thank you for watching. So I start off with my Glitter Addictions Dragon's Breath color. It's super awesome and it has a slight color change in it. I mix about 5 milliliters of CCDIY's Ultra Clear Fast Set, which cures in about 2 to 3 hours. I add a very super thin coat, probably about half the epoxy I mixed, and then I add on all of my glitter, make sure I'm getting full coverage. Also, tip, make sure you base coat it a color similar to your glitter so that if you miss any spots, it won't be as noticeable. So after about, I want to say 15 minutes, I add a flood coat. Flood coat just tops the epoxy or the glitter, and I used, again, CCDIY Fast Set on this. Once it is fully cured in about 3 to 4 hours, I take a sanding block. I used 120 grit and I sand the entire tumbler to make it as smooth as possible. So when you're using chunky glitter, there's always a lot of shards that stick up or pieces that will be noticeable when you end up spraying the tumbler with spray paint. So once you're done sanding the entire tumbler, the rim, the bottom, everything, is when you will move on to the next step. You can find these sanding blocks on Amazon. Super amazing. It's way better than sanding sheets because you have a better grip. I bought a variety pack, but I mostly use the 120 to 180 grit when sanding in between layers of my cups. Once you're done sanding, you're going to want to take 91% alcohol and wipe down your cup. This is important because you're getting all the sanding bits off, and you kind of give it a final look over to make sure that you hit all the spots as well. And then once you're done cleaning your cup and that alcohol dries on the cup, which you'll be able to tell because it'll still look sanded, it won't look shiny like this, is when you will add a thin layer of epoxy. Approximately 20 milliliters is what I use. This is also a 20-ounce tumbler. I use CCDIY Ultra Clear Fast Set on this as well. Fast Set is amazing. It, again, cures in 2 to 3 hours. I use it on dark colored cups because it has a tendency to yellow a little bit more with lighter cups. So I use it for basing my cups with glitter when I want to kind of quickly move through orders. When you are applying any epoxy, you're going to want to torch it. I use a very large torch. I can link it in the description below. This helps get out all the bubbles. I wait about, I want to say like 5 minutes, and then I'll torch it again. You want to be very light and quick. You don't want to hold it over one spot too long, or else you will end up burning the epoxy. And because Fast Set cures so quickly, it can burn a little bit easier. So you'll just want to be careful that you don't hold the torch over one spot for too long or too close to the cup. So once your cup is fully cured, you're going to use your cutting machine. I have a Cricut Maker to cut out your design. I bought a large 12-inch by 5-foot roll, because they were out of the 5-yard roll of like a brownish tan Oracle 631 removable vinyl set. This is what I use for Peekaboos because it ends up getting spray painted over and not mattering. I don't want to keep wasting my white or my black, which is my most commonly used. Once you're done, you're going to weed out your design with the design part that is a little bit more intricate. I reverse weeded, which is basically just taking the design in whole and then weeding out what you don't want using the transfer tape as a base. You're then going to place your design on the cup. Now with this cup, you can place anything anywhere that you want. I usually try and do a pattern with the feet where it goes all the way around the cup, but that is just my preference. You can do it any way you want. And this is what it'll look like before I spray paint it. Again, you can do the design. There's a lot of files on Etsy where you can change the wording too. So first I use flat black spray paint and I base it with that. I spray over the entirety of the cup, making sure I don't miss any spots, making sure all the, I think I had a piece of vinyl popping up at that point, which is going to happen. So just spray it in full, make sure it's fully covered, take your time. And then once the black dries, then you are going to coat it with another coat, but with white spray paint. So you can also make your colors any color that you want. You could have done a base of green and then done white, or a base of green and done black. It's really your preference or your customer's preference, however you want to make the design unique to you. So with the white having a black base, you might want to go over it a second time. Again, your preference. I went over it as thoroughly as I could. And once this was dry is when I started removing the vinyl. So I use a pen, PINPEN, that I got from 651vinyl.com, which is no longer named that website. I think they named it 143 Vinyl now due to a lawsuit with Oracle. But regardless, this is extremely helpful with picking up the designs without making scratches on your cup. It's hard to see through the video, but the vinyl to me is actually really easy to see in person. Once you remove all the vinyl, you will then take Goof Off or acetone, whatever your preference is, and a cotton round and start rubbing. So Goof Off and acetone take off the spray paint immediately. Once you put it down, the spray paint is disappearing. So you'll want to be careful. You can also use a Q-tip if you want smaller designs. So this is where you create the geode look. When you're doing this, it doesn't have to be in any specific area. You can literally put it anywhere. So what you're seeing now is I added alcohol to a brand new cotton round and I'm cleaning off the excess spray paint that kind of just spread everywhere due to the acetone. This also helps get the darker spots off of the white and clean up the white. But if you rub hard enough, you're also going to get down to the base where the glitter is too. So just be careful. Do the design again how you please. You can also rub off enough of the white to where maybe some of the black is showing or whatever base color you decided to do. So when I'm laying down my decals, I'm trying to lay them down so that I can also leave room to be able to do this. Again, I don't do it the same every time. I just look at the cup and see where it would go, what would look best, and go from there. So make it your own and have fun with it. So once you are done, you are going to take epoxy. I used CC DIY artist resin for this coat. Typically this would be your last coat, and this will take about 8 to 12 hours to cure depending on the humidity and the temperature and the space that you're working with. I ended up doing a second coat after this because I did realize I missed some spots with the epoxy, so no big deal. But once you are done with this, you will be done. You'll just clean the rim, clean the inside of your cup, and package up and get it ready to go.